Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Draft Huddle. We're about 2 weeks out. What is up, Foots?
Yo, what's up, Joe Rod? It's been a great Monday. It actually wasn't a great morning. We had a rainstorm out here in DC, and my freaking roof collapsed, so I stay home from work. Everything's good though, just some leakage on the roof. So make sure you guys are home, man. Make sure you guys are cleaning out the gutters because it backed up, and the roof, the drywall caved in, so much water. But other than that, I'm good, Joe. I'm always ready to talk Cowboys. Can't let it get me down.
Absolutely, dude. So on the positive side, man, let's talk some prospects here, man. What do you have on tap for today?
Well, Joe, before we do that, do you want to hit Dez? We have to, and how it changes up the plans. Do you want to dive into that a little bit, Joe? I think we should. I'm moving on, but you know, it tied. All of this ties in together. It's obviously the monkey in the room. So, what do you think, Joe? How does this change Dallas's draft plans? What are you thinking?
With Dez gone, I think it's honestly, I think the Cowboys had this already planned out. They were just waiting for the right moment to make this release. So I don't think this is like, okay, we're going to release him. Now we got to change our draft board, our plans, and this and that. So, I mean, does wide receiver shoot up the boards to, the primary pick? I mean, it might be, but I wouldn't say that it's absolutely has to be wide receiver in the first. For me, you got to get the best player that's out there, and you still want to build up that defense. That's where I stand on it. Let's keep going on the defense, pedal to the metal. Let's keep the upgrades going. That's where I stand on it.
No, I agree, and now I do think that they were kind of going back and forth. I don't know if they had this planned all off season. I just think that the pressure got so big, the pressure exploded when it came to, Jerry one side and the rest of the kind of the contingent against, it just doesn't make sense. But I guess I get your point, especially with them trying to make a move on Watkins and a couple other receivers. But I will say this, Joe. So Jerry has kind of let things, Steven, Will, you guys take over. Joe, me and your draft plans are still build this and fix this team. Joe, what's the reality that the Cowboys say, screw that, we need a playmaker receiver in the first round? Just throwing that out there.
Throwing it out there. I mean, maybe Jerry's like, okay, we're gonna do this, but I want a playmaker. We got to replace the playmaker. So who is it? Probably looking at wide receiver, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. We know everybody was out there to look at Ridley. Could it be him? It might be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, Joe. I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't, and I still think that you can get good value at receiver in a second. Okay? But something in me is just saying that drafting Dallas, Jerry World, he wants to make a splash. He wants Cowboys fans to know that to him, he wants to bring some excitement to this team. He wants to make plays. So that's just a thought from me, Joe. I just wanted to get that out the way. Like, losing Dez or releasing Dez, it changes everything. And it may be, Joe. Now, Joe, what's the realization that it may be Dallas thinks that they can win without a one. They can win without a one. Don't need a number one receiver. They can win without a one. They draft maybe an O-lineman. So that's the flip side of that. I know that's what me and you would do.
Yeah.
You think that's any validity to that, Joe?
I mean, it could be if this coaching staff was creative. Do I trust in them making that kind of move where we're gonna change our scheme from a big, possession receiver to more running game, and you're basically, to me, it would be like them having to change the playbook to adapt to what changes they want to do, and that scares the crap out of me because I don't believe in Scott Linehan. and I don't believe in Jason Garrett's in-game halftime change-ups. It's a scary thought, but I mean, it could be something that they have in the works to change how they look at receivers, no doubt.
Okay. So, okay, Joe, you said we hitting prospects today.
Yeah, let's hit up some prospects. Let's see.
Okay.
How do we feel about it, man? Where are you at right now? We know the hot names have been kind of roller coaster between Calvin Ridley, a lot of Leighton Vander Esch, a lot of Rashaan Evans, a lot of people. You got Vita Vea guys. There's a whole group of people that have their favorites. So where are you standing right now? 2 weeks out, who are you feeling is still the favorite for you? Who do you like?
Man, the favorite for me, Joe, I think that if Calvin Ridley, I really want Calvin Ridley to go to Baltimore. I just really want him off the board. If he was there at 18, I think there's no way. I mean, at 19, I think there's no humanly way that Dallas will pass on him, even with their needs. What Foots would do, and I just released a 5-rounder. I was actually about to watch your 7-round mock. The draft has come full circle, so we're in this time period now, Joe. 2 weeks out, it's kind of like we were talking about this earlier. You're in overanalyzation mode, right? Everybody's, all these crazy scenarios, these trades. Everybody's trying to play the guessing game, and it's, before you know it, Mike Hughes will be the 10th overall pick. You know what I mean? Somebody who you know what I mean? Or Ronnie Harrison will go to Baltimore. You just never know. So, we do 1,000 mocks and none of them are right. It's a crapshoot. That said, Joe, just going with my first mind, I still like Will Hernandez at 19. Just revisiting his tape, I just love him. He's a cabinet with arms. His movement is good enough.
All right, man, let me ask you this. Who's the better guard, Will Hernandez or Lyle Collins?
All right, so for me, Joe, I don't want to touch Lyle. I think he played good. I think Lyle's a better guard right now. But what Will Hernandez will be, I think he can end up. Right now, Lyle's a better guard, but he's also our best right tackle, and I want to have Fleming as solely our backup left tackle to Tyron, if that makes sense. Just because I don't want Fleming, like, I get people who want to, move Lyle back inside. He said that he doesn't want to go. He's learned this position, and it's not easy on the offensive lineman to keep moving back, forth. I think that he really made strides at right tackle, so I don't want to touch him there. What do you think, Joe?
No, I think at the end of the day, they're not going to do that move. I think they're just keeping.
Okay.
I think they're keeping their options open. Worst case scenario, a bunch of people get blown out. Maybe they do some crazy trade. I don't know. I was just wondering where you felt on Lyle.
No, it's a good conversation to have because these are the conversations they're having.
How do you feel about DJ Moore? A lot of people, the go-to conversation has always been Calvin Ridley, and it's almost like DJ Moore's getting kind of the forgotten man here. A lot of people talking about Sutton, Kirk, and these other guys. What about DJ Moore? Are people forgetting on him, sleeping on him?
Okay, so DJ Moore, nobody helped himself more during the combine process than DJ Moore, and actually it was great that he measured at a 6'0". Okay, so he's 6 foot even. Had terrible quarterback play in Maryland. Really, the whole team was terrible, but he was the one shining light. Route tree, can run every route in the route tree. Very fluid. Catches everything thrown his way. The only thing that you're really worried about is the size. Checked off the box with the speed. I think he was a sub 4.4 guy. So I like DJ Moore. I wouldn't be mad at that pick, Joe. I actually, to be honest with you, I think he's better run after catch than Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley just has better long speed and is a little bit of a taller, longer player. How do you feel about DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, those three?
I think you got DJ Moore and Ridley are your clear-cut first rounders, and then you have these other guys that could be had a little bit later. Christian Kirk, Sutton, Chark. These guys are, I would say, second and third round guys. But, you never know where the run is going to start. Last year we didn't think any of these guys were going to get drafted where they did. Corey Davis, John Ross, all these guys. There was a small run there where you're like, man, this guy went 6 or 9 or whatever. So, that could happen. You just never know with how the draft is going to shape up, man.
No, I completely agree. And so, Joe, that brings me back to this question, Joe. Is linebacker still in play in this draft, especially in the first round? Is it still in play for you, Joe?
I think for me it is. For me it definitely is. Now, what the Cowboys will do, I mean, they haven't drafted. I did a first round drought video, covered the droughts, and we haven't drafted a linebacker in the first since Carpenter, and that was like eons ago, man. It was like a decade ago. It seems like, and I think it was like a decade ago, but. Some positions, I think the Cowboys are just one of those teams where they don't draft these guys in the first round. So they don't draft it like defensive tackles. We're not a first round defensive tackle team. The history shows it. Linebacker, safety is another one. Like, I think they feel a little bit more confident, or they're a little bit, not arrogant, but I feel like they're confident in their scouting department that they can find these types of positional guys in later rounds. So Cowboys offensive line, they hit home runs in those in the first round. So offensive line, I think, is probably your safest bet for them if they want to be safe and add somebody. Offensive line and a defensive line, I think they're good at. They can find some edge guys. So I don't know, man. I think they might stick in the trenches at the end of the day in the first round myself. But.
I've noticed that, Joe. You kind of changed your tuning. Like, you're really starting to like Landry. You like, because he'll be there. And see, the thing with Landry is the size. If you didn't want to draft Watt, and you have all of these measurable questions for your scheme, Landry's tape. Woo. But can he play the run, Joe? You got to, and then as far as some of these 2-3 techs, I don't know if, I'm not taking Nathan Shepard in the first round. I like him.
No.
I don't like him that much.
Yeah, no way, not first round.
I like Vita Vea, but I wouldn't take Vita Vea in the first round. I don't think he'll impact the game enough. I was a big Maurice Hurst fan. I would take him in the first round, but the health. And then Taven Bryan is kind of a sneaky name.
Yeah.
Has the he's really slim and slender. I just don't think he knows what he's doing yet. But Rod Marinelli took a liking to him. So I like, what, out of those 4 names, the name for me is Landry. Now, is there now a logjam, Joe, at DN? Okay. Just got Ely. You want Taco to develop. Is this maybe you getting ready to move forward and move on without D-Law? So I get you there. So, like, make sense of that for me, Joe, because I've noticed that, like, you've been kind of on these D linemen, and it's a way that you think the Dallas could go. So who's the D lineman that you want, one, and or Trench's guy that you want, and kind of make that make sense for me. Maybe we're losing Crawford. Maybe they're going to do something with Crawford.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Crawford's replacement in this draft. And you're talking about like a Breland Speaks would be a perfect replacement for him out of Ole Miss. Okay. It's a later guy, but for Landry, what I like about him is you're getting an apex predator, man. He's one of the premier pass rushers in this thing outside of Chubb, and can you afford DeMarcus Lawrence? If he has another crazy year, Cowboys might let him walk. That's just the honest of it, man. These guys, I don't see them paying the big bucks for defenders. I mean, they got a lot of big contracts coming up. Zeke,
man, Joe, they can't let D-Law walk. They can't.
You think so? They can't, but I mean, think about the money.
That's what we got it. That's
the business side of it, man. That's the whole thing about all these big contracts. They do the big contract, they get burnt, and then fans are complaining about, I mean, the Cowboys that keep burning themselves with big contracts. So, I mean, he's your war daddy. I want to keep him, but will the Cowboys keep him? Where do they see the value in it? That's what I'm saying. And if they don't see and if they don't see that they're going to be able to afford all these big contracts, they better get some people in line here, to move in.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
It never
Something
hurts
we gotta be ready
it never
for.
hurts to have enough pass rushers either, man. We don't, hopefully Taco continues to progress and that kind of thing. But if you can get these premier guys, pass rusher guys, get them, because I don't expect us to be drafting 19 again. I expect us to be drafting towards, the bottom of the draft. Hopefully, we're in the playoffs, championship, Super Bowl. So, if you're here, get yourself a guy.
No, I completely agree. And like you said, and it could be one of those things you just want to create competition at every position, every chance you can. He has a little, watching Landry, he has a little Vic Beasley in him.
That's a good comp for him, Vic Beasley, and that guy's a handful, man. Guys have the game plan for that, and that's what we need. We need defenders that offensive guys have to game plan against. Right now we have DeMarcus Lawrence. They have to game plan against him, but if he's injured, knock on wood, who else do we have? Who else do we have that scares the offensive line?
Yeah, no, and I like what you're saying too, because now what I think, and so now maybe Joe is your D lineman early, and then maybe you get a later round linebacker to come in and bang with Jalen and Sean. I wouldn't be mad at that, Joe. Wouldn't be mad at that at all. If you do the homework, because there's some late round guys now. You know how much I love Sitchy. There's a Sitchy. You can get Leonard. So there's a couple players. Yeah. Leonard's definitely my circles, and then other teams will, who's this Leonard? And they start making them make sense for their mob. So, we'll see. That's interesting, Joe. Is there a position on the defense that's off limits during this draft for you?
For me, if we're talking early rounds, it's tight end. I do not want a tight end. We gotta stop drafting tight ends and developing them for other teams. That's what they keep doing. All right. So tight end, I'm not down for tight end, and man, that's about it, man. That's about it, man. And you know what the Cowboys would do? They would draft a dang tight end. Like, I mean, they've done that to us before, and it's the most aggravating thing in the world. But sometimes they get too cute for themselves.
Who's the tight end that you want, Joe? Who's your one? I think I've asked you this before, but we could just hit it again.
I like Gesicki and I like Durham Smythe for a later round. Those are my top two guys. And there's other guys, Ian Thomas. I mean,
like Ian Thomas. I like Ian Thomas in Indiana. Good player.
Dallas Goedert obviously is another one.
Yeah, what kind of happened to Goddard? Goddard had the buzz early.
Yeah.
And it just kind of fell off. Is there something to that? Is it just the process, you think, Joe?
I don't know. I think it's just, other teams are finding out that, they're liking other players for these 30 visits and
their scheme.
Yeah, you just follow the cookie trail, man. Who have they been visiting the most with? A pro workout, the private workout, the 30 visit. And that's why when we look at the Cowboys 30 visits, it's a telltale sign, like who are they really interested in? A lot of receivers. We got a lot of receivers they're looking at, so that's not for nothing. So, I mean, we'll see what they do, man. It's gonna be an exciting draft, no doubt. As long as we don't get a surprise like a tight end. What about you? Is there off limits that you don't want to see the Cowboys drafting position?
Defensively, I don't want to see him touch a corner. Byron Jones came out today and said that he's a corner now, so you're good there.
Let me ask you this, Foots. On Byron Jones, where is he playing? He's saying he's a corner. Where is he going to play at, in your mind?
Oh, he's on the outside, and I think that you kick Jordan Lewis inside, good tackler, and you let. Here's what we need to happen, Joe. You need Xavier Woods to be who you think he is and who I think he is. And you need him to be able to play your slot and play a little free. Because I want to get a guy, whether it's in this draft or I know you like Kayvon Frazier. I need to see a little bit more from Kayvon Frazier, but he can play down around the box well. And everything you hear from him, he's hungry. He wants to prove himself. I don't want Heath on the field during critical times of the game. I know he makes plays, but the coverage it's still the angles. Whereas X Woods just is always around the ball. He's always in sound position. I think that Byron could be a good corner, and I think that it's like you've been on it. You've hit it. He's not a safety. He doesn't really like to tackle. But as far as blanketing and covering a guy, I think he could do that well. So I think he would play on the outside. Now, where does that leave Anthony Brown? You got to compete, dude. You had some reps last year that just sucked. Cheeto, I think he's going to go in as your one on the left, but he's also sat out all the training camps. So these guys still have to learn how to be pros at the same time competing as well. So, but you can't bring in another corner. It just wouldn't make any sense. I don't think they'll touch a corner at all. Marquez White, they still may have plans for him too. So, for me, you got rid of Scandrick because you want to move forward with what you have right here. So that's the position. And then again, tight end. As long as Jason Witten is on the roster, I don't see how a tight end will get reps. Just the fact you hear things about Witten at practice, he doesn't even like to give up reps. He gets that that Dirk Nowitzki treatment. So for me, and you know what, Joe? It's sad because a tight end could do this team some good. I would even say I would take if you like Goddard, you do the homework on Goddard, and you see a guy who can play in line and is a good receiver. I would take a one tight end over one receiver because I think if used right, he could be, a good asset to Dak. But what Foots and Joe would do and what the Cowboys would do is going to be different. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because if we're talking about, I know Witten's a good guy and he's All-American Witten, but if we're evaluating our team, I've been on record. Joe.
And you know what's going to happen? We just jinxed ourselves, Foots. They're going to draft a corner. They're going to draft a tight end, and we're going to look back at this video.
Say that, Joe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man. The draft is crazy. It's a crazy animal. But, any other hits you want to hit on the draft, Foots?
Joe, I just really wanted to talk about, how things changed with Dez. Why don't you run through your 7-round real quick? Just doesn't have to be long, just real quick. And then I'll run through my 5, and then we could call it a night.
Yeah, I did my 7-round mock, and I've been asking my subscribers to go and my mock drafts have been scenario based. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, and so on my 4.0, I asked the guys, what do you want to do? So they wanted to trade up, so that's what I did in this one, and we moved up to the Packers to get Harold Landry.
Wow.
So, and I used the fan speak difficult setting, and, we had to give up a lot. So we went up to 14. We went Harold Landry. We gave up the second to move up there. And but we got their 4th round, which is the first pick in the 4th round. So we kind of traded there. So in the 3rd round, we got Nathan Shepard. 4th round, Naheem Hines, the running back out of NC State, and that's what we got from the Packers. Went Josie Jewell in the 4th, and in the 4th, and then the 3rd pick in the 4th round, EQ St. Brown, wide receiver. 5th round, I went Cole Madison, and then 6th round, I went Christian Sam, Arizona State. Check him out if you haven't seen him. He's got.
I like Christian Sam a lot. I like his film.
And then 6th round went Doris Fountain. 6th round, Joshua Kalu, and then the 7th round, Chase Litton.
Wow, I like 2 picks that stood out to me. Late round value is Doris Fountain. I like this kid, Joe.
Yeah.
The body control. I think you may have to get him in the 5th. I like the body control. He ran a good 40. He's sneaky, Joe.
Yeah.
Like, you talking about go up and get it, hands clean. He's sneaky, Joe. Joe, he's sneaky.
Yeah, I like that one, man.
Yeah, so I like that pick a lot. Let me go through mine really, really quickly here. Did you see it, Joe? Did you see my 5-rounder?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I saw it this morning. Good
Yeah, so I went
work.
Will Hernandez, James Washington, Darius Leonard, Tavarius Moore, Sitchy, and Mike White. And heavy defense, some small school guys at some key positions. Come in, let them compete. Maybe found Dez's replacement in James Washington, who I think helped himself during his draft process, and just a plug and play. You know, we're not really excited about Marcus Martin. We've had those conversations, but ultimately, if you can't get on the field in Cleveland, I mean,
right, exactly.
I mean that's a telltale sign. And I know Dallas does good with kind of putting patchwork things together, but you got to be honest on that note, Joe. So to me, when it comes to Martin, I think Will Hernandez right now is just a better player. Like, you got to understand, I think fans of the game, evaluators have to understand that some of these kids are just better right now. They just do things better than just because somebody's in the league. They just do things better. Will Hernandez is just a stronger player than Marcus Martin. He just anchors down better. You can see it on tape. You can see it against good competition. So I can't play with my offensive line, especially because I want to maximize Ezekiel Elliott's talent. Like, this year is about Zeke to me. I can go down losing, handing the ball to Zeke 25 times, but this year's about Zeke and possibly playing opportunistic defense. So for me, that's what I want to do, Joe.
I like it, man. I like the Mark White pick there. I think you give the competition to Cooper Rush, and you keep the flame on Dak Prescott. Not that he needs it, but sometimes you need a guy behind these younger guys that are starting to make sure they still have that fire. Not that Dak doesn't, but it's always good to have that person there. And Romo never had that, and we kind of saw Romo. You know, he kind of peaked at one point, and then that was it. You know, he peaked and that was it. But I mean, he played at a high level for a long time. But I like.
Yeah, he never had anybody behind him. No, I agree, and that's why I think why he would get sloppy with the ball. You got to keep competition at every level. If they have competition behind Tom Brady, you see what's going on in New England. You know, Tom wanted Jimmy G out because he knew that Jimmy G could play.
Yep.
You know, and if nothing else, you could flip a pick for these guys. Okay, so. You know, the Patriots did it with Matt Castle. They've been doing it for years. Hoyer, Jacoby Brissett, they always draft a quarterback. Green Bay, they drafted, Hasselback. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Even Brett Hundley in a year from now may have some value, or if they didn't already trade him. So, I mean, every position has to be valued. And being honest, if Dak has a bad year, things could get goofy for him as well. So, the fact of the matter is, evaluate every position. And Mike White, I'll tell fans, I'm going to do a scouting report on him. Doesn't do anything great, but does everything good. And he climbs the pocket so well, Joe. He's sneaky good in the pocket, and that's what I like about him.
That's a great analysis, and that's why we like to bring this great content to you guys. I mean, it's just good stuff that you may not hear in other areas, with the major media. I like, man. So it's good, man. It's good stuff. How are you feeling about the depth? Some of these guys that we added, Joe Thomas, Marcus Martin. Do you feel like we're still need to upgrade? Do you see any of these guys not making the team that we've brought in here, like Deontay Thompson or Martin or any of these other guys? Like, let's say we draft some players and they beat them out in camp. Do you see them not making the team?
Martin and Thompson, I could see not making this team. I think Hearns is safe. I think that Fleming is a good player, and he's your insurance for Tyron. Like, Tyron just needs his own insurance policy. Can never have an Atlanta debacle again. So,
absolutely.
But Marcus and Martin and Deontay Thompson, because I get Deontay Thompson has some return ability and he's made some plays, but his tape just wasn't that attractive to me. That's just me. That's why I never did it. I like Joe Thomas, actually. I think that's maybe why they may not even want to draft a line. I like Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Come in, play a little middle. And if you did want to draft a linebacker, it's really just for injury concerns with Sean Lee getting older. But I think Sean Lee hasn't taken a step back or anything. He's just getting older. He still understands the game. He's still, making plays out there. So,
absolutely.
Those are the two. Those are the two for me, Joe.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I like Joe Thomas as well. The other guys I think are just kind of, bodies. Deontay Thompson, 29 years old, so he's already old. So, I think I'm pulling for Noah Brown, and then add another receiver in here from the draft, and I think we're good to go, man.
I like Noah Brown. This is going to be a big off season for Noah. If he can come out of nowhere, maybe you don't need a receiver. Maybe the receiver that you get, you never know. So I like Noah Brown a lot, Joe. I do. The bird's chirping. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, dude. Background noise today. Fuck me.
The real. This is the real, guys. This is the real. This is what you get on the huddle. We love it. You still there, Joe?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm good, Joe. If you're good.
Yeah, I think we're good, man. But that's all we have for you guys. If you have any questions that you want us to address in the next huddle here before, the draft, let us know, because I think we'll probably have another, at least one, the week of the draft, probably next Monday, hopefully. And
yeah, we'll do it next Monday, Joe.
Yeah, put some questions in there. Let's try to make this a Q&A session. What questions do you have for us? What players do you think, you want our opinion on it? Put the questions in the comment box here, and we'll try to address them on the next draft show. You have anything else, Foots?
No, I'm good. We'll make next Monday the Q&A session, and then we're all in. That's it. It's over. It's time to draft, baby.
Let's do it. But that's it, guys. We really appreciate you for joining Foots and I here on Cowboys Huddle. And as usual, continue to like and subscribe our channels, man. Appreciate it from all you guys.
Thank you, Joe.